Hi everyone, Donna here from Marsh Mackey Recruitment. Thanks for joining us today. It's our second video for the remote worker series, and this is for managers who are looking to manage remote workers. Obviously, a lot of businesses have been forced into kind of managing remote workers, so it's a bit unusual, and there's a few tips that we've just put together that hopefully you'll find helpful. So what we would say first of all is, obviously with any remote worker, and Wi-Fi speeds and security is very important. So whether the laptop is the business's and you're giving it out to the employee, or if they have their own laptop, it's always security is paramount, to make sure that there are encryptions, passwords, that the information is as secure as possible. If they're using their own laptops, if they're dialing in to their own computers, obviously that's probably protected, but certainly if it's a laptop that's going out on site, just to make sure that all the securities are in place, and obviously your IT professional will advise you more on that. One thing is good that we would say is to say to the employee to make sure that they have their screensaver pops up 30 seconds after they leave the desk, because if they're working at home, you've no control over who's actually coming in contact with the information. So it's important to kind of mention that to employees as well, that they are more aware of the sensitive information that they have off-site. You should know exactly where the person is working from. I know that sounds obvious, but to have their home address or where their workstation is going to be, because that's very important. Again, GDPR and that sort of thing as well would come into play there, but just to make sure that you have a note of where the person is actually stationed. The employer should also ask about the employee workstation itself, to make sure, just to address the issues, that it's a private space, that you're not going to be distracted, you know, that that it's comfortable as well, because obviously they wouldn't be used to working remotely, and it's important that you ask the question at least anyway. So in regards to the movement of material, physical files and that sort of thing, we would probably recommend a sign-in, sign-out type scenario, where you have the person signing in and signing out the information if they are taking files off-site, which probably will be the case if they need to, which is important, again, just to record everything for GDPR purposes on that side of things. It's good as well to have a structure. So what we would recommend is to make sure to state to the employee that you keep the work hours that are in place when they're in the office, keep them the same when they're out if you can. It gives them a bit of a structure as well, so they can get up and work their normal hours, and also means that they can interact with their co-workers as well. So that's important. It's also good to make sure that you mention to the employee that they need to comply with company policies. So in regards to conduct and how they conduct business, because they're off-site doesn't mean that they can, you know, conduct a Zoom interview or a Zoom meeting in their pajamas. They have to dress accordingly, and you know, under the terms of their employment contract agreement as well. So just to remind them of that more, so it's not, you know, again, they won't be doing interviews in the pajamas hopefully, but you never know. So it's important just to kind of make sure that you cover these things with the employee, and that they adhere to the conduct, the privacy policies, securities that are in place with the company. Another thing we would say is to kind of outline the objectives and goals, so that, you know, that the employee actually sticks to meetings that are regularly done. So you might have a daily meeting at 10 o'clock in the morning to keep that up, whether that's through teleconferencing or Zoom meetings, which seems to be very popular at the minute. So just to kind of keep that structure. It also means that there's a flow of communication and information with you as well, so you kind of have an idea of what exactly is going on their desk, and that's always very important. Insurance is another thing that would probably come up in this scenario, because obviously information is outside the office. So just to make sure that the equipment, the data, the physical intellectual property belonging to the company at the nominated address is covered. So the company would require that the employee notify their insurance company and have the company's interest noted on their home insurance. So that would be one thing to cover with the employee as well. If and when the employee ever did leave your company for whatever reason, if they move on, always make sure that you have a follow-up to make sure that laptops are wiped, that there's no data off-site, and change passwords and all that sort of thing as well, so that there isn't any risk to your own business. In regards to managing the actual worker themselves, obviously we've covered that in our previous video with Lauren on tips to handle, when you're actually working from home as an employee. But from a management perspective, it's good just to kind of touch base with them, check in with them, see how they're feeling, because it can be quite isolating if they're working from home and they've never worked from home before. Motivation is another thing as well. So it's good to kind of check in regularly just to see how they are coping, how they're finding it, and to make sure that that flow of communication is happening with the co-workers as well, and obviously with yourself as management. So it's just good to check in. So hope those suggestions have been of some use. If you need any more information, or if you'd like us to go into a little bit more detail, please feel free to contact us here on 046 902 8205, or you can contact us on all the social media platforms as well, which are listed below. Thanks for listening. Bye.